Okay, I went ahead and pulled in the soldier, or the soldier stuff from the adventure. Oops, excuse me. The Kenny's assets. This guy, and it's in the second game assets pack. And it's called a Platform Characters 1. Then it's the soldier. I thought this guy would make a good merchant. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about making like a torch upgrade here, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just make all this guy all one game object. So let's go ahead and make it. And I'm going to start it with an area 2D, and let's go ahead and rename this to merchant. All right, and let's see. I'm gonna need a bunch of stuff on this, but I'm gonna pull it into the scene first. So let's give it a collision shape and make that shape a rectangle first. Right, so we'll make it a little bit bigger, and then we'll save it as a merchant under objects. Let's come back to level 1 and let's drag it in by going to objects, merchant, drag it in. Alright, so it's right here, and I totally did not put it where I wanted it. It went in this foreground tile map, so I'm going to move it up here to merchant indoor, and this is background, so that's fine. Alright. So the idea here is I'm going to have a collision area where the player can walk up to the counter, get the pop-up, and have the torch here, and have the merchant standing behind it. And when he purchases it, it'll remove the coin from the player's inventory if he has it, and then remove the torch from the merchant, and then also the merchant will play a little animation indicating that he's happy that the player bought it, and that's going to be this, let's see, art merchant, this hold, kind of like, you know, he passed it over to him. And so we'll play that animation for a few seconds, and then we'll go back to this. Alright, so let's get started on all this. It's a lot to cover, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, so let's see here. So this guy needs to be a little bit bigger, so let's go ahead and make that about like that, and that, save, and come back here. Perfect. Now, some of this might be hard to I think if I edit this, I'm not sure that I have a way to save that back. If I leave it as editable, I'm not sure that I have a way to apply those changes back, so let's just go ahead and try and give it a shot here. So I'm going to add a sprite, and let's add that torch, which I think is under items. Yep, there it is. Let's add the torch to that. Then we'll scoot that up here-ish. And see, oh wow, that was better than I thought. Let's move it down a little bit. Oops, save. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, just a little bit to the left, and just a little bit down. Yeah, alright. So then I need the merchant, so let's add another sprite here. Let's add another sprite. And let's add the soldier. Move him over, and we're going to, where is it? Flip H. That way he's facing the player. And let's move him further this way. Huh. It's being stubborn on me. I'll just use the arrow keys. There we go. Save. Maybe a little bit too close. A little bit further and down. Alright, down just a touch more. Now this might have been a good case for designing it out here and then saving it into a into a scene, but that's alright, we're getting there pretty quickly. So there I've got my little guy. I'm going to back him up just a hair so that when I play his arm animation, oh, you know what I should have done is used a change type. We're going to use an animated sprite. Alright, therefore I'm going to lose my sprite, but that's okay. I'm going to do new sprite frames, click it, get default. I'll just drag my idle in there, and then I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to call this one cell, right? And we'll drag that one in, and yeah, that should be good. And then let's see, let's call this merchant, and this one is the torch. The reason I'm naming these is because we're going to be hiding and showing and playing animations and stuff like that based on when the player does this. So what I'd like to do, let's see, so when the player comes in here we need to trigger something. So let's go ahead and add the script. We're going to add the merchant script and clear this stuff. We're going to keep the ready because we've used that in the past for hiding the the little alert box, and let's go ahead and add that. So that was under HUD? No. Other? Yep, there it is. And let's go back to objects, and we'll grab that. We can get it off the treasure chest. We'll grab that off from the pop-up bubble. We'll get that modulate. That was a long way around to get that, and we'll apply that to the visibility modulate. Hit that on there. Alright, and then we're also going to need to apply the coin. Oops, so I'm looking in the wrong folder. So there's icons. I'm looking for coin. Let's see. So we'll drag that in there. So we need to do the same deal here. We need a node 2D, and then drag both of these in there, and then remove that one from the there. Remove that from being the child of the other one, so that right. So what I'd like to do is have some sort of indicator that shows that the player doesn't have the coin if they come in here and try and purchase it without the coin. So what would be cool, I think, is to have like a red circle thing over that. So let's see if Kenny's Assets has that anywhere. So let's look for icon, and so here's game icons. Let's look under black 2x and see if there's any that indicate that you don't have something. Not seeing it. That's not good. So we're gonna have to make one. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna use Gravit, and my tools are under development and Gravit. So this should be real simple. All I want is a circle with a line through it. Alright, so let's see how challenging that is for us to crank out. So I'm going to do 70 by 70, which is the size of my tiles. And I'm going to do the same trick that I did before with setting the color here to fully transparent. Alright, and then we need a circle, or in this case an ellipse. We're going to make it roughly the size of the thing here. Make sure I use shift to make sure that the aspect ratio stayed as a circle. And then what we can do is, with it selected, we can set a border, and we'll do like a 3, so it's nice and fat. And then we may even size this down just a little bit, move it more in the center right there. And what was it? We wanted a line through it. So can we do a line? And we'll just go from here to there. Maybe move it a little bit more. Actually, what I really want is it to be 45 degrees. So I want this corner and this corner to be kind of my targets, right? And then I want this to be 3 as well. Let's let's scoot that in so the end there isn't showing. That looks pretty good. Now the only thing I want to do is I want to make this background transparent so that I can see through it. So that's what this color right here is. I'm going to set that to transparent. So now I should be able to see through, and the only thing that should show is this border. So let's go ahead and save this. So I'm going to do Control S to save. And what I was wanting to do is save it as a Gravit file. And I'm going to be okay with that right now because I may want to come back and change this, and I wouldn't be able to change it from the PNG file. So what I'm going to do is save this as, let's see, not circle. Oh, totally botched the spelling there. So let's jump into here. Venture World, other, or no, art, objects, other, there we go. And what was it called? Oh, it's going to be a Gravit file. So it's going to be one of these hard to spot white ones. There we go. There we go, sorry about that. And then the other thing I want to do is File, Export, PNG, and in that same folder I'm going to say not circle.png. Alright, so we should be able to close this, and back in Godot, oh, I know what I did wrong. Yep, and this is why we did that. So I made that white, right? Which means that what I really wanted to do is have it red, and I won't be able to use the modulate on it because I made it black. So let's fix that. That's why I saved the Gravit file. So I should be able to just come up here and say not, let's see, not circle Gravit design. So let's see if I can just drag that in. Nope. Open from computer. There we go. It showed as my last one. So it should be easy to fix here. All I really need to do is on this line, I'm going to change the color to full white, and on the circle I'm going to change the color to full white. Done, save, and then the other thing I need to do is export it again as a PNG file and do it as that not circle. There we go. Okay, so back here, and I'm going to add another sprite, and this one I'm going to apply that not circle from other. There it is, and whoa, and I'm going to bring that guy up on top of, oh my goodness, ooh, on top of this one. There we go. It's actually pretty well sized. Probably should have made it a little bit bigger just so I'd have a little bit more accuracy without the smoothing happening there. That's alright. So then visibility, modulate, and we can make it a nice red. There we go. Yeah, it looks alright. Yeah, we'll go with that. I would probably find another solution if I was real serious about it, but this is alright. So not sprite, that'll tell me, that way I can name this, and then this is the pop-up indicator. You can tell it's getting late. My spelling is just totally going down the drain. Alright, so got the not indicator, and so that's what it'll look like when the player comes up and he doesn't have the money in order to purchase his torch, and if he does, then it will hide that and he'll be able to purchase it. Alright, so let's see. I think we're good to go here. Now probably this would also be another good place to play a sound, but I don't think I have any sound files set up yet, so we'll maybe come back later and do some sounds. Yeah, I just got that splash. Maybe in the future we'll come back and do some sounds. But let's get this working. So the player comes in, and so we need a script on that. And we've already got our script. We're not doing anything. Let's do the hide on the pop-up. So we'll do pop-up indicator dot hide. All right. And then let's do our triggers. So let's go back here, merchant, node, body entered, connect, and then merchant, body exited, connect. So we've got those two guys. If we want to be lazy, we can go back to our door script and grab the contents of that, and then go back to our merchant, paste that in, and then door exit, merchant exit. We'll rename some stuff in a second. We also need the process function is going to be pretty similar, I think. So let's go ahead and paste that in. And alright, so we need a variable for when the player is in there. So let's call it at counter. Alright, so player is at the counter, ready to purchase something. So here we're going to do add item, and we're going to do torch. Alright, we're going to need another one for remove item, and we'll do that first. We also need a yeah, let's do this a different way. So I know that we only have one player. So let's just make this null, and then here in the ready function, let's do player equals get tree dot group, and what I can do is get nodes in group, and then do player, and this, what this will return is should be an array of nodes. And since we only have one, I can pretty much guarantee that the first one will be the player. And the way you can access an array is by using the square brackets and then the index, the number, in that array where the object you want is. So this should pull the first player. We'll see if this works. It should work. It's a little sloppy, but I think it'll work. Another way we could do this is to set up a... Actually, that's a good idea. Another way that would be much better and safer is to do export node path var player, let's call this player path, and then what I can do is in the actual scene for the level, instead for this merchant right here, now when we look in the inspector, we don't see it yet. Did I save that script? Oh, I'm not compiling, that's why. Put it past there, and now it should show up properly. So when I click on the merchant, here I have the player path. Let's go ahead and assign that to my player down here. And now I have a nice clean access to the player. Alright, so I'm going to do here is say var player equals get node player path. Alright, so now I have a clean access to my player, and I can do something like let's see, player dot inventory dot well, what I want to do is I want to see, does the player have something in his inventory, and I believe the array has a find function. So you have like what you want to find, and let's see, it searches it, it'll return -1 if it's not found, otherwise it'll return the index where it found it. So what I can do is here I can say inventory.find, and I'm going to look for coin, right, because that's what I want to find. And if you find it, then return the number, the index where it's found, otherwise it's going to return negative. So what I can say is if this is greater than 0, well, if it's greater than -1, because it may find it at 0, right? So, or I could use greater than or equal to 0. That's probably the cleanest looking. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, then that means that the player has the money to purchase the item. Alright, so let's see. And actually I need to find this out down here. So what I may do is do a function called player has coin. Alright, and move this into here, and then return true, else, return false. So that's kind of a dirty looking function, and now I can just say something nice and clean like if player has coin. Alright, so that looks a little bit cleaner, and I'll be able to reuse that same function down here, and if I want to modify this down the road, I'll only have to change it in one spot. So that's a much better way to handle that. So let's see, the player has coin, then I want to let's see, player dot remove item coin, and then I want to player dot add item torch, and let's see, let's fix this down here real quick. We'll also need to add the animation for the merchant, so we could actually put that in between. So let's do let's see, so merchant dot play, and the one we want to play is sell. I believe that's what I named it. And then let's wait on a timer. So I think I can do something like get tree dot add let me look up how to do this. I think I may have it in my cheat sheet here. Notes, Godot cheat sheet. Let's see. Timer. No, I do not. Let's Google it real quick then. So, Godot timer encode, yield timer encode. And yeah, this will probably get me there. So it's close to it. There's a one-liner here that I'm looking for. It's real good. This one's it right here. Well, that's close to it. Here it is. There it is, right there. So let's go ahead and add that in. And the reason I knew about that is, you know, I read around quite a bit, and I'd seen this and was like, wow, that's really clever. So what it does is it gets the tree and then creates a timer. I didn't see that function when I just looked a second ago. And then here's the time in seconds. So let's do it for, say, 1.1 second at first, and then it waits for the timeout and it yields on that. So what'll happen is it'll play the merchant sell animation and then do this, and then come back and start this next line. So here I'm going to do idle. So he'll kind of put his hand out, wait 1 second, let's do 1.5 seconds, and then it'll come back and the player will then have the torch. Alright, so another thing I need to do is also say that so let's move this up to the top, and then we'll have another one called torch sold equals false. Right, so the torch, or I could say torch available is true. Alright, so the torch is available, and then here I can add that same thing, and torch available, right, because we don't want to sell him something we don't have on hand. And then here we're going to set torch available equals false, and we also want to hide the torch, so I'm going to do torch.hide, and let's see, also down here, and torch available equals true. This will actually work right here, but this makes it clearer and easier to read. So this is called truthy, and different languages evaluate truthy differently. So I think in Godot's case, 1 is considered truthy, whereas -1 is considered falsy. So for this guy right here, the coin, I actually probably could have just dropped this part right there, and it still would have worked the way I expected it to. But you know, it's always good practice to write it out. That way, it's very clear to people coming after you what exactly is going on. So, anyways, that was good practice to go ahead and put the true there and do the same here. So then let's see. So if it's available, then we show the body entered. Otherwise, don't. And then let's see. Let's just give this a playtest and see what happens. So I'm gonna do a couple things. On my level, I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna get my player, and I'm gonna bring him into the house. Whoa, I accidentally stretched him. So I'm putting him in the house, and the other thing I want to do to him is I want to give him by default, no I don't. What I want to do is on the indoor, I'm going to give the indoors a treasure chest. So I'm going to go to objects and treasure chest and just plop one right there. That'll make it pretty easy for my player to go and grab the money he needs in order to do it, and then we'll remove that after we do our testing. So yeah, great. Player not found. So yeah, so here I'm doing the player check without actually going to get my player, and so that was this right here. I should be able to just put that right there. That should work. Alright, so right here, grab the coin. I've got the coin. I come over here. I forgot to do the negative, remove the negative. So right, so here I need to say, so if you're moving in there, we don't just want to show this, we also want to say, let's do it after. So we'll say if player has coin, then pop-up indicator not sprite dot hide. So I'm going to hide it if the player has the coin. Otherwise, let's show it. That way, you know, for some reason, if he didn't have it, then like if he had it and then didn't have it, he would it would work. Alright, so there we go. And just to prove that it worked the way I intended it to, if I just come straight over here, I don't have it. And if I try and purchase it, up does nothing. And if I come over here and grab the coin and I come back, up then explodes, but it is doing something. So here, remove item doesn't exist on player because we didn't code that. So let's go back to the player, go to the player script, and here we have add item. Let's go ahead and make a func remove item, item to remove, and it should be pretty much the same. So we go, I think So array, does it have like a remove? Let's see. So I can erase value. That's actually probably what I want. So there's also a remove, but it removes at a specific position. So what I would have to do is use the find to find it, and then remove it. And you know, if you had multiple coins, then you would have to loop through that. But I think this erase, let's look at what it says. So erase, it removes the first occurrence of it. Alright, well, we're not going to let the player have more than one, so I think this will work. But we could always just call this a bunch of times. Alright, so let's go back to player, and we'll just do inventory.erase item to remove. Alright, and we don't want to forget to update our HUD. Let's go ahead and play, and new game. Alright, so again, I'm going to grab the coin, then I'm going to hit up. He takes away my coin. Whoa! That's funny. Alright, so that did work. He didn't give me that, and we showed that. So I didn't get the item, and we continued to show this, and I erased the dude. So that's all bad. So let's go back to our merchant. So let's see what happened here. So we removed the coin, and we played the sell. That all worked. Then we yielded. I did see the timer, right? But then things went to pot. So we're just hiding the torch. The torch is not part of the merchant, so I'm thinking that was okay. This might be suspect. We also didn't add the item torch, but we don't know how to display the torch, so maybe that did work. And the torch available, and the torch hid. So I'm thinking maybe this is really the only thing that didn't work right. So let me make sure that my yeah, see, it's called default, not idle. So what probably happened is it didn't know how to render it, and so it just hid it. Alright, so we'll purchase this, go over here, sell, he hands it, takes it. Alright, so two things left. I need to be able to render that we have the torch, and we need to render, or we need to remove that. So we forgot to remove this guy. So we'll do hide. So that should remove my indicator. And then I also need to show that the player has that. So we're going to go to the player's HUD. So we got this HUD scene, and in here we're going to add another one. So I've got the coin, and what was that, a texture rec, and we're going to add the art, and we're getting the torch, right? So that's, is it under items? Yeah, there we go. We'll do the, yeah, we'll do the torch on. There it is. It's a little small, but I think it'll be okay. Right. We'll just go ahead and see how that looks. So, but I do need to change the code, right? So here, remember we hid that. So we need to also go inventory slash, oop, I didn't rename it, torch, and then back to the script, torch.hide. And then down here, we're going to copy that, paste, and then if it's torch, then torch show. Alright, so that should work. So now, new game, get my coin, run over here, purchase, he hands it, takes it, and I get the torch, and I can no longer purchase anything from him. Pressing up does nothing, doesn't hurt me, he just chills out. Everything's honky-dory, and I can go. Awesome. Alright, so I think that was pretty successful little bit there. I think the next piece will be making the torch actually do something. So when we come into this cave, currently everything's nice and bright, but what I'd like to do, and I'll show this real quick, what it's gonna look like. So what I'm gonna do is here, I've got that in the background, so I I could handle this two ways. Well, what it'll look like is if I do my black tiles here, this is what it's going to look like. And I don't think I'm going to be able to use these black tiles. I think what I'm going to have to do is add a polygon or image or something over it. But this is what it's going to look like. So if I run out here, what's going to happen is he's going to come into the cave and he's not going to see anything. And so it'd be very difficult for him to navigate this cave. Matter of fact, I probably should cover up this portion too. Maybe even the whole screen. As soon as he comes in here, we should just fade the entire screen except for right around the player. That's probably what we should do. And then when he pops out here, we'll fade back into visibility. Yeah, that's a good idea. Alright, so we'll get started on that in the next video. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.